Exactly. All right, so now we can get started.
Oh, it says a little nice recording button up here.
Welcome to Two Crazy Scoops Podcast with your host Ao, Antino, and special guest Danny Carlile. We finally got him on the show, guys. I roped him in, and now he's
Well,
here.
it's a good evening to be outside. I think I'll see you guys later.
Danny goes and experiments with getting the coronavirus.
I'm just going to wherever I can find a crowd and taking a big, deep breath with my mask on. Ha, I got you. You didn't know.
So,
You didn't expect that.
Danny, you are the IT guy, and right now the world needs IT guys.
They've always needed IT guys. This is nothing
doctors.
new. This is nothing new. It's as much of a crisis now as it's ever been.
So being someone who understands computers, how frustrating is it to see all of us fumble on Zoom
It's not
and
super
break down and
frustrating.
cry because we can't figure out how to use it?
It's not super frustrating. I will say that.
It's
It's more humorous. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I don't know a lot about Zoom. I haven't messed with it. I've shown people how to use it, like how to start it and start an account and get connected with it. But as far as the intricacies of Zoom, I really don't know. I could figure it out, but I haven't had to so far.
So what are some
Now-
of the things? Oh, what are you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say, I think of the ones that are, how do I use Zoom? And well, you click on the link. What's a link? Okay, then you really have to kind of back it up. Or it's like, I want to join a meeting. How do I do that? They keep sending me emails and telling me it's easy, but I don't know how to do that. And you're like, okay, well, the email has the meeting code in it. And they're like, no. No, it doesn't. I'm like, no. See this number here. This number here is a meeting code. And you type that in, and then you have the password. And they're like, it won't let me join. Okay, when it's that kind of thing, that's the real challenge, because the basic use of Zoom, most people can do that. I think it's just really knowing how to do it that
Yeah.
people run into an issue with.
So then, obviously, that's a small thing that you kind of deal with. But working in IT, you're actually working with big issues that people are having,
Yeah,
and then
sometimes.
also small issues that seem like big issues.
That's the best phrase for us is everybody thinks they're having an emergency. Right? When they call you, they're not calling you because, oh, it's a perfect day, but my keyboard caught on fire or something. That probably would be an emergency. But my point is, they're like, my email crashed. You're like, okay, that is important. If you're a business owner. Now, if you're an individual, it's like, I can't get my oh, okay. I wanted to say Wheel of Fortune. It's not Wheel of Fortune. It's Publishers Clearinghouse. I can't get my Publishers Clearinghouse ads to work. That's not an emergency. I know what you think it's an emergency, but it isn't. Now, that's the thing with IT. You always have to kind of set the expectations, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes I'm available to help with that right away, but other times I'm not. And it is very interesting trying to explain to somebody, okay, I can't help you right now, but I can help you tomorrow or the day after or something. Now, if it is a real I got to get this figured out now, the server is down kind of thing. Okay, we have a real emergency on our hands. This is business critical. You get a you're on it. You might actually leave another project even to get that up and running.
Why is the server so important?
Well, for a lot of businesses, that's where all of their files are. So if the server's down, you have no access to the files you should be working on, whether it be a lawyer's office or,
Ooh.
a doctor's office. Just that's where all the files live. So
Mhm.
Accounting software can be on there, or at least the accounting file can be on there that they then access from another machine. So I know, we've had some clients or my QuickBooks isn't working. I can't print paychecks for the employees today. If we don't get payroll out, everybody's going to be really mad.
We're going to get on the news for this.
We're going to be on the news and we're going to get sued. No, it's not quite that bad, but it is a big deal, right? I mean, if the system went down and you didn't get your paycheck,
Yeah.
you would not be happy, right?
Uh-huh.
So some things are most certainly emergencies, and other ones are they feel like emergencies to the individual, but they may not necessarily be an emergency.
Which is what I love. I was sitting in your office one time, and this is a story I want to relate because the lady came in and thought that the devil himself was messing with her phone. That some kind of outward force was possessing this electronic item.
Apparition of some kind.
That happens sometimes.
No, the reason she believed that, though, the reason she believed that is because there's an expression about what happens to a device sometimes called ghost touches. It's when the device picks up touches on its screen that aren't actually happening because there's a malfunction in either the screen or the logic board or the motherboard that's interpreting the screen as being touched when it really isn't. But the term it's called ghost touches, right?
Uh-huh.
So she heard the term and she's like, oh, it's possessed. It's 100% possessed.
Yeah, because that's what you would diagnose in that shop, actually.
Oh, you've got ghost touches. What?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, here in the book of Satan.
Right. Sprinkle the phone with holy water.
Yeah. You're like,
that'll make it much better. Just dunk it right in there.
Put it in holy water.
Fix the whole issue.
Now.
But it's totally dead. Time for a new phone. That one should be ghost free.
Wow.
But that was just funny because it has the huge disconnect between what you're relating is to people, what they think is going on and what is actually going on. And so some people, like you said, think that something is very urgent when in reality it's a very easy fix.
Well, it's funny because what you were talking about when you mentioned the ghost touches reminded me of another conversation I was having about jargon, where it's like whatever field you're in or whatever you're doing, it seems like there's words and language that relate to that you know and the people that are in that know, but other people may not know.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter what it is. It can be IT, it can be an online game you play, it can be movies, it can be just whatever. But there's terms that you will hear and you're like, I don't know what that means. But people that are in that circle do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of interesting to think about how, for us, when we hear a term like that, like ghost touches, we're like, oh, I know what that is. But for a lot of people out there, they have no idea what that actually means.
Like phoning up a priest.
So, what happens is they have to either, do research and find out for themselves, or they take a guess. And I think the average person is going to take a guess, even though Google is right there. It's right there at all times, for better or worse.
Which is what I was working a job when we worked kind of in the same office. When I was doing the data entry stuff, I'd always ask the guy I was working for. I was like, "How do I do this?" And he'd be like, "Google it." I'm like, "Oh yeah,
it's there."
I'm like, "How do I make this text red when I'm trying to add it to this website?" He's like, "Dude, Google it." He's like, "If you Google it and then you can't find the answer, Google it again.
Then ask me."
And then ask me.
Yeah.
Look at more than one forum, okay? The first forum will rarely have your answer. The second one will probably have it, but it'll be in terms you don't understand. Then ask me what those terms are, and I'll be able to help you with it.
So that's the funny thing, though, is like I think your job kind of trains you to search for answers and not feel so helpless in certain instances.
It does teach you Google foo. Yes.
Google foo. How to do somersaults on a search engine?
No, it's you kind of figure out what kind of information you have to type into the search engine to get the result you want.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the memes you see about the search engines are people trying to type what they want to get to, and it just does not get there.
Am I permanent?
Yeah, that's just bad spelling, but you get the point. The idea is the same, yes. But you kind of learn how to word things in a way that the search engine is going to give you the information you're looking for. It doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. And then sometimes there's just no information on a thing. Like,
yeah,
there's been so few people who have run into this issue that nobody's ask the question even as to what the fix
for
is.
instance, I tried getting back into running at some point, which I like stopped the day after I tried. But when I was wearing my
One day, and I almost died.
I did, because I started running, and at my feet there was some animal, some creature that was trying to bite my legs, and it was somebody's dog. It was like a really tiny dog.
Oh, I remember this story.
And so then I ran faster, and then I tried kicking it, and the lady's like, no, you just need to stop running. And I was like, you need to put your dog on a leash.
You were seriously.
You need to leash that mess.
He was like, I like triggered it by just trying to run. But my phone kept skipping songs while I was running.
Ghost touches.
And I looked it up online,
Boom,
and there was
is.
no answer for it.
I think I remember you asking me about that. You're like, how could my phone be doing this when I'm not touching it or something?
Yep.
And that's kind of when you have to think about, I guess, what the environment is around you. Because just because you're not messing with your phone doesn't mean that there is an input coming into it.
Oh, I think it doesn't mean that the devil isn't.
Right, that's what I thought you were going to say too.
Yeah, definitely. That's totally what
I love how your whole episode so far has been centered around the occult, Danny.
Hey, I didn't even introduce that. I think Antonio was like, it all comes back to the occult. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. No, it really doesn't. What?
It's just ones and zeros. Calm down.
It's just ones and zeros. Oh, but they equal something. I know they equal something. I don't know what it means. But they equal something.
Yeah.
That's
but yeah, I think part of it with at least, what we do, since we work with a lot of directly with individuals, we're not just helping businesses, and we're not helping like large businesses. Because I think a lot of people, when they're thinking of IT people, they're thinking of that guy in like the basement of a huge building who takes calls all day from the people above, like, my keyboard's not working,
crowd.
or IT crowd, exactly. That's the image people have.
Yeah.
But that's not really what we do. We kind of do a lot of different things.
Hey, I have a hypothetical question for you. Let's just say you were working for a business.
Oh my god, I've heard of these hypotheticals.
Aaron needs help with something, and he just gives me advice.
No, it's not me. It's not me. I saw this online.
I had
asking for a friend.
Yeah.
And his friend had a dream that he was Spider-Man.
He was Spider-Man, and his iPhone had ghost touches. What does it mean? Can you tell me what that means?
No.
Out with it.
No, seriously. What if you were doing work for a company, and later on you found out that this company where you're helping out with their IT were actually scammers from India? What would you do?
Hello, Danny. Thank you for coming to work with us today.
Pretty sure I would know.
Well, no,
if they were scammers from India, because how would I not know they're from India if I'm going into their business?
No, you're helping remotely. Remotely. All Indians aren't scammers, so it doesn't.
No.
Hey, nobody said that, Aaron.
What I'm wondering is
said that? Sometimes it was a Freudian slip. Sorry.
Who and what?
Just covering all the bases. I'm just covering all the bases. While it would be highly unlikely, if I did discover that, I would report them, of course.
Floyd is going to remove his mask underneath.
You had no idea.
This whole time.
We've been calling PC owners this whole time behind your back, telling them they're full of viruses, even though we have no way to know whether they do or not.
But I was thinking about it earlier when you were talking about the server, because there's just one guy online. Well, there's a bunch of people online who do this, but they basically hack into these scammers like base.
Yeah, I've seen some of those.
And
they like delete all his data,
delete all their stuff, and
yeah.
So,
I think the thinking is that I'm not going to do something probably so nefarious, even though they're obviously not good characters. I probably still wouldn't do something like that myself. I would definitely report them. I mean, I would be like, whatever means of communication they're using to reach people, I would report all of that. And whatever domains they're using, I would be like, okay, report all of those things to try to get them shut down.
Even though you had been helping them previously, though.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, I would probably have all of their passwords at that point.
That's true. But you'd also be an accomplice to the crime as well, so.
Yeah, that unintentionally.
Not only are you part of the occult, Danny, but you're a criminal.
You're a criminal. Yes. The hypothetical question and the thing nobody understands leads to criminally occult.
Where is this going, Aaron?
I'm gonna head.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna head over to my compound now and just make sure only the people that believe can get in, and keep all of you out.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
You're before they enter, you're like, "Let me see your phone," and it's just like going crazy, and you're like,
"You're good. Come on in." You couldn't do anything with that if you wanted to. You're good.
Oh man. Hey, what is this thing about how to clean a dirty keyboard?
Oh, I had this video I wanted to show you, but
Is it the one where the guy's cleaning out stuff at a PC shop, like vacuuming stuff out or computers, and they're like full of roaches and like nicotine and tar?
What?
Have you seen that? Apparently not. Apparently not.
How is my hair getting more progressively messed up as we're recording? I'm trying to open. I'm using the laptop that you gave me, Danny.
Ghost touches, Antonio. That's what's happening.
I'm like, whoa! No,
I'm
using the laptop you gave me.
On that topic, it was really funny because he was like, the cameras in the Apple laptops have not changed since like 2011.
Oh, really?
I mean, the camera tech in the phones has gotten a lot better. But honestly, the cameras in the laptops really has not. I mean, it's the same. Like, you get a 2018, 2019 laptop, and it's the same as my 2013 camera.
Wow.
In it, which is weird. I don't know what the deal is with that. But, so don't get a new Apple laptop thinking that you're going to get the latest and greatest camera. Get an iPhone for that.
Really?
Or an iPad. Yeah.
Should have just used my phone for this then.
Really, though, it would be much better.
But the audio is going to be better on your computer.
Oh, yeah.
Unless
you have a way to input the audio with a mic or a fancy mic like you got.
Well, what's funny, we tried doing that, but with Zoom, for whatever reason, Zoom won't pick up the microphone because I have a USB mic, but for whatever reason, Zoom doesn't want to work with it.
Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so have you ever worked with a customer that ended up being like super sketchy?
I had a client, I don't know if you've heard of the service, but it's the service where they buy tickets up from concerts and then sell them.
Yeah, like scalping.
The guy that did that made like one of the biggest, I guess, websites to do that or
Wait, are you not saying the name on purpose?
Yeah, I don't want to. I mean, what he's doing is actually legal, which is weird. It's legal here in Arizona.
Because I know what that is. I know what site you're talking about.
Is it? It's not TixFan, is it?
Oh no, I was thinking StubHub.
Because I don't remember which one he established first, but the government went after him, and he stopped. He left that one and then started another one up.
Oh, that's a good idea.
But the ticket scalping, it's not illegal here, as long as you're not within 20 feet of the establishment or something. At least in the state of Arizona.
Oh, so you can't stand out in front and do it.
You can't stand out in front, but it doesn't matter if you're on a computer.
Wow.
Because yeah, exactly.
That's a nice loophole.
It really is, isn't it? Federally, I don't know how that works. I don't know if there's a loophole like that, but it was. I always kind of felt a little. Yeah, I just was like, I just didn't feel super comfortable, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I haven't had to do a lot either. I was just helping him get his internet set up at first.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably the best example of one. I mean, the guy himself was friendly. He was a cool dude.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he was. Hey, how's it going, Danny?
But
You want any concerts you want to see soon, huh, buddy? Yeah.
But I do remember thinking, like, I don't know how I feel about that. It's seems a little sketchy, but it's legal.
So then you want to tell us about when you're talking on the phone with like the Cox people about internet? Or like
you mean like my general experience with them?
Yes.
Or like are there like secret words you're looking for to get
I remember you telling me that you were trying to get someone. It was like you have to talk directly to someone because the tech person didn't know what they were talking about.
Trying to remember what that was.
It was like someone got locked out of something or other, and then like you had to call somebody. And while you're talking to them on the phone, they really didn't even know what they were doing. And so like the technician had to call another technician, and they both didn't know how to fix it.
I really wish I could remember that.
Oh man, maybe that's a Chris story.
It might be a Chris story. What I
walk
would say
in there, it's just like, dude, you guys like tell me these like crazy things. I'm like, what is going on in the tech world?
Are you guys for real? No, I think what I run into most often, first of all, always be nice to your tech person on the phone. Just, always be nice to them. You're never going to get further. You're never going to get help if you're mean to the guy that's trying to help you, okay? Just keep that in mind, right? But for us, what's really funny is a lot of the time, we call the number and we're trying to get something solved, and we already know that level 1 or even level 2 support is not going to be able to help us. Like, they're not going to know what we're talking about, or they're going to know, but they can't do anything.
Uh-huh.
Like, they don't have the authority to actually make any changes, so they have to kick it up. I think that's more what you're talking about, where it's like the person that you talk to, you're like, you have to be really nice and stuff and explain like what's going on and take the time to do that, but they can't help you. You know that they have to kick it up, and it's just a waiting game for how quickly they'll do that for you. And with some people, you're like, you can just say, explain what's going on and say, I need to talk to a supervisor, not because you're doing a bad job. I just know you can't do what I need you to do. But you have to say that in a nice way.
You're like, you're not doing a bad job. You're just doing a bad job.
You're just insufficient. Bump me up. No, it's
bring me to your leader.
But it is always entertaining when we have, maybe not entertaining, but it's interesting when we have one of those situations where you talk to the first level, second level, and then you get past the supervisors, and then you're into like engineering, where it's like the developers that are working on it are like, okay, yes, we kind of know about this. Give me more details so we can figure out how to fix this bug in what's going on. I cannot remember exactly what the issue was. Actually, no, I do remember one. Let's see. So we had a client that whenever a computer was logged in with his Apple ID, there was something he couldn't sync, I think, with his iCloud account. Like it wouldn't, I don't remember if it wouldn't connect, or there was something weird that was specific to his Apple ID. Because if we logged into it with another person's Apple ID, if we like wiped the computer out and logged in with his Apple ID, it wouldn't work. But if we put somebody else in, it would. And it was something up in Apple's system, like way above what your normal tech support is going to be able to help you with, that was a problem. And they had to I think it was Boyd, they had to kick Boyd up to like engineering. And like, they're like, okay, so this process here in like iCloud does this. And, there's something as an account that's causing it to trip this. And so it's not working. And at the moment, we don't know how to fix it.
Still?
So,
Wow. So if your iCloud doesn't work, you should just like create a new one, right? Isn't that what you were telling me before?
No. No. No.
Just create, just sign into another one.
No,
right?
no.
On every different device that you have, just set a different Apple ID.
Anybody watching this, anybody that ever watches this, do not listen to what Antonio just said. He's taking a page right out of like the cellular phone stores, like the carrier stores, where they're like, "Oh, you don't know what your password is? We'll just set up a new Apple ID for you."
Yeah.
And you're like, don't do that. Don't do that to people. That's horrible, because inevitably the guy that's going to go in there is going to be the one he's had his Apple ID for 20 years. He had an Apple ID before it was an Apple ID, and he's got music attached to it. He's got all his apps attached to it. He's got backups back to 2005, and they give him a new Apple ID, and all that stuff goes away, and he has to purchase all of it again, and the backups are gone, and all the data's gone, and it's just awful, and it's all because he wanted a new phone. And to top it all off, he goes back and says, "This thing isn't working. All my stuff is gone," and then they sell him an Android. So it's just, it's just a mess. Yeah, it's horrible.
So just get a new Apple ID. And
if
you have any trouble, just buy as much iCloud storage as you can. Purchase all of it.
Oh,
the more terabytes, the better.
The reason
Your
Antonio
phone will
was doing
run
this,
faster.
the
you
reason
get more
he's saying
terabytes.
this is because we've had this conversation. Like, I think you actually went through this when you tried to get a new phone at the store.
I feel like in certain things I have had delayed experiences in life. One of those things is purchasing a phone, which you think at 26 years old, I would have been thoroughly aware of what you need to do. But no.
Maybe it's just that you didn't know what not to do.
I'm not. Is it just me or is it like everybody? Because everyone I talk to,
you.
they're like, "Of course,
it's just you." They saw you coming a mile away. They're like, "That guy."
Yeah.
That
So
guy needs
I'm
something.
gonna give everyone a little bit of advice. I know you don't know this, Danny. No, I'm just kidding. But if you have a 256 gigabyte phone, don't try to buy a 64 gigabyte.
And don't listen to the guy trying to sell you a 64 gigabyte phone that says, "It'll be fine. It'll still work."
Why isn't anything syncing?
Why is it totally busted? Well, because you don't have enough space. And no, buying more iCloud storage is not going to fix it. Yeah, it's I mean, if you want a pretty foolproof process as far as getting a new iPhone goes, I can't speak for Androids because I don't know. Google might have a thing for that. But anyway, if you're getting a new iPhone, get one at least as big as what you have, and never go to your carrier. Never. It doesn't matter what deal they have. It doesn't matter what kind of screaming awesome thing they're offering. Do not deal with your carrier, because the easiest way to do it is just buy the phone. Just buy it from Apple directly. Have them ship it to you, and swap the SIM card from your old phone to the new one. And you literally won't even have to talk to your carrier, and you'll be just fine.
Yeah. Hey,
that's what I told Antonio to do after he had gone to the carrier.
Well,
and
the
had
funny
this,
thing is I'm always like, I'm going to do this on
experience.
my own. I don't need help. And then I'm like, Danny, well, the lady is like standing there, like trying to help me. And I'm like,
after 2 hours.
I'm just going to call my friend because he works on stuff. Oh, that's really good. You have a friend who does that. I'm like, yeah, it is, because you get paid to do it and you're not doing it.
That is funny.
Yeah.
And then it's my fault.
Hey, are we still going over this recipe to how to prepare toilet paper, or are we skipping
No, that was old stuff. That's like, okay, again, we're going to call you out, Danny, because we call out everyone. That's what I just do on this podcast. But that was the whole script for when you were supposed to be on before the pandemic hit.
Yeah. How many times? Wait, which script? Because you tried to get me on like at least 3 times before the pandemic hit, and I don't know which one it was supposed to be at this point.
It was just one where I was like making up jokes, because that's what I've been doing. I'm like working a lot, so all I can do is just make jokes in my head.
What about the Wilcox section? Are we cutting that out?
I want to talk to him about whatever he said being an otaku weeb.
No comment. all right, there's different levels, right? You start out watching anime. You're like, what's this thing? It looks interesting. And you're like, you start watching anime, and then you're like, huh, how much about Japanese culture is this actually teaching me? I don't know, but Japanese culture seems amazing. and then it progresses into, boy, I sure wish I could understand some of what the characters were saying without reading subs, because nobody should be watching dubs. But no.
Man of class.
Any human being should be watching subs. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you get interested in the language at that point. And then you start learning the language through anime, which is the worst thing you can do, because you're learning all of these like super quirky, weird ways to speak the language that aren't actually used in real life. So if you ever talk to a native speaker,
really high pitched.
It's not even that. It's like just the way you talk is not right. Like the native speakers will be like, "Where did you learn the language?"
You live in a cartoon.
Wait a minute. So how well can you speak Japanese then?
Well, so the fun part is the next progression level is you actually take a class to learn the language. Mm-hmm. You could actually start at this level without watching anime at all. But if you go through the whole progression and then manage to get to I'm going to take a class and learn the language, congratulations. You can actually talk to a native speaker without them looking at you like, go back to America or wherever you came from, because you don't know what you're talking about.
So at what point did you start bathing in ramen?
Oh, that was before the anime.
That's what got you into it.
That's what got me into anime. I'm like, there has to be other people or something related to this. Some form of media. Anime. There we go. No, I'm lost. It's interesting. I used to be able to speak a fair amount. I mean, I don't know if I could carry on a good conversation, but I could understand the basics. I could read hiragana. I could read a little bit of katakana. I even learned a few kanji, but those were always tough. But then I stopped taking the class, I think, in 2017 or 18. And I, didn't have anybody to use it with, right? I mean, I could talk to a couple of my friends who had learned a little bit of Japanese here and there, but we didn't even keep up with that. So I kind of just, it's in there somewhere, but it's not.
Can you explain to us what an otaku is?
So here, if somebody says otaku, they're generally talking about somebody that's into like manga and anime. But in Japanese, in the Japanese language in Japan, an otaku is somebody who is interested in a very specific thing. It doesn't have to be anime. It can be trains. It can be like military stuff. It can be music. Like, there's all kinds of different kinds of otaku.
Like a savant?
No. I don't. When I think of maybe define that for me.
Someone not only who's interested in it, but also specializes in the ins and outs of. Or is it just someone who's like really into it and knows like
somebody's really into it and like obsessed with it? It's just more what it is. And I want to say that it does tend to have a somewhat negative connotation here in the States, at least. I think it's more negative there.
Oh, it's more.
I think it's more negative there. Like, you don't want somebody to call you an otaku. It's not necessarily a good thing. I don't think it's as bad as it used to be. I think it's more, it's lightened up over time. But
that's good.
Yeah, it's basically just somebody who's really into something, whether it, whatever it is. So,
interesting. Yeah. That's an otaku then.
But that's the kind of stuff you pick up as well as you make this progression. You start learning the thing I say here doesn't mean the same thing as there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's funny, because like you said that you have jargon in like IT, but I also feel like you have the same jargon when it comes to anime. Like you and only a select other few people understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, I mean, people that watch anime regularly would probably know what I'm talking about.
How much would you say that jargon appeals to people then?
You mean that one specifically, or just
Like being able to speak a language that is similar to what people are speaking, but it's just the words mean something different.
I think it's huge. I think people love it. Honestly, that's probably one of the reasons people do some of the things they do, because they have this special language that other people don't know, and they can speak in it, and they feel like, this is specific to me, or this is special to me, and I can include you if I want, but I don't have to. And other people that do know it, I have a link with them right away. So I think there's two sides of it. There's a positive side in that people love, being able to connect with other people that way. And they love having that, like, this is something that I know that I really enjoy. But there's also the negative side of it, where it can be like, like this pride, where it's like, I know this and you don't know this, and you're never going to know this. And it makes me better than you. Right? So yeah. It's interesting. I think there's two sides to that coin.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, I think more people that I talk to and the more things I get interested in, the more I always come across the negative side that you're talking about, where I only know so much, but I don't know enough to, like, be accepted.
And people won't tell you enough to be accepted either.
Like, I love guitar.
Cases.
I love playing guitar, but you talk to some people and they're, like, talking about pedals and guitar strings and all these,
and they're kind of talking to you like down their nose.
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, and I just gotta, whatever.
There's this guy at Bookman's. If anybody wants to go to the Bookman's on Speedway whenever it opens up, that guy, like, gets mad at me so much whenever I'm trying out guitars, and he's always like, oh, well, you should blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. I'm just messing around with them.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, I think some people will latch onto that as a, like, this is the only thing that I have that makes me better, or they feel like that. I'm serious. I hate to say that. I hate to put it that way, but it kind of seems like sometimes, like, this is the only thing that like raises me up in some way. So you just gotta hold on to it and lord it over others.
Doing that with this podcast.
I was thinking what you guys should do is you need to do like a skit podcast or a couple of skit podcasts where it's like you do one of the podcasts, but like the whole time you're eating a sandwich, like the whole time your mouth is full of sandwich and you're trying to talk during the podcast.
That's actually the podcast we did earlier.
Except it was with beer.
I had a pizza to finish.
Oh yeah, he was eating and I was eating a burger.
Yeah, we were actually doing it, but it wasn't loud, so we need to make it crunchy and stuff into the mic.
Yeah, it has to like be enough that it distracts from the rest of the focus of the podcast.
You're like so
you can't ignore it, but it's also not what you guys. You're like ignoring it.
We're like trying to alienate our listeners by just creating our own separate world that they have to like somehow view from the outside
with jargon.
Right. At a certain point, they're like, okay, like why are we listening to this?
Why are we listening? I think. That kind of comedy would be really funny to do. Where
and then there's going to be like 4 people out there who are like really super hyper interested into it because we're being so indie.
And those people are going to know like everything about every episode, and they're going to have terms that they've created related to each episode. And it's going to be like, you guys will meet them and won't even know what they're talking about. Nope. It's going to be that deep. It'll be that deep. But
they're going to know the episode number and everything. I'm going to be like, oh, we did that?
Oh, what?
Aaron doesn't even know that now. I'm like that. I'm like, hey, Aaron, remember episode 7 when we interviewed so-and-so? And he's like,
we did? We had them on the show? What?
Was I there? Yes, you were there, Aaron.
I was eating a pizza the whole time. What do you expect? I was focused on the pizza.
That does happen. And sometimes I forget.
We're all reference jokes, like it's like our inside joke, and he just doesn't get it because it's like didn't listen to the episode.
Oh man.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting. There's always that one person that gets like so into it. They've watched everything 5 times. Like they know word for word what was said.
I think I watched Shrek that much.
Did you see that post? There was a post about this kid who was like, "I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
watch
sent that
Shrek,"
to
and he'd
you.
seen it. Okay, it was you that sent it to me. I was like, "What in the world? I'm gonna watch Shrek," and he just plays it in his head. He's seen it so many times. He doesn't even have to watch it anymore.
Dude, so like my little cousins, when they were kids, like my aunt would just play that movie on road trips. So I went to like California
Over
with
and
them one time,
over
and we
and
watched
over.
that over and over and over. And if they didn't play again, they'd like flip out. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had become addicted to it. It was an obsession at that point. And their favorite part was when Shrek makes like a candle out of his earwax. Like that, they waited for that the whole movie. Like,
It sounds like we're getting back to Eddie's episode right now.
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah. With all types of medical bodily fluid stories.
Yeah, I don't have stories like that except for like just nasty computers.
Oh yeah, so like you have to deal with people's computers, and you said those are dirtier than like a toilet seat?
Yeah, your phone is like 3 times dirtier than your toilet seat.
No, I actually clean mine every day. Alcohol.
Well, I think a lot of people are doing that now, but
Now, yeah.
you know, before it used to be, 3 times, 1,000 times dirtier than your toilet. You could dunk it in the toilet and it would be cleaner than when you dunked than before.
Whoa.
Than before you dunked it. Exactly.
I missed
I
it.
dunked mine in the toilet one time, but it would not come out cleaner than it went in.
I mean, you could actually get
toilets again?
you could actually get bodily fluids, fecal matter. You could get stuff on it and it would still be cleaner than it was before it went in. It's just like, what?
Oh
No.
man.
I find that hard to believe.
No,
You haven't
it's
seen. Never mind.
it's obviously not that bad. But yeah, they do say phones are dirtier than toilets because people don't clean them.
And they take
No,
them into
it's-
the toilets with them.
It's something you're touching all the time. It goes everywhere with you. You never clean it. It's in a warm environment. Like all of these, all of these things put together just grows stuff on it like crazy.
It's like a petri dish.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So you got dead skin cells from it being on your face. Like,
I don't
There's
put
so-
my phone on my face.
food falls in your pocket.
Speakerphone.
It gets rummaged around in there. Stuff's growing. No. But yeah, it's just because people don't clean them. And they go everywhere. Like if you took your toilet everywhere with you, it would be filthy too. I mean, and you never cleaned it. If you took your toilet everywhere and never cleaned it.
I actually do.
What are you
bring my
talking about?
toilet with
I just
me
used the
everywhere.
toilet down the hall.
I bring my toilet with me everywhere.
Stinks in here. No,
It's called a diaper, sir.
I thought you were gonna say it's called nature.
No, just like
Just like, oh, there's a
the world is my bathroom. Wait,
the
we might have
world
to
is
edit
my
that.
toilet.
I'm sorry.
Aaron just throws it out the window.
Oh man.
Throw it out the window. Is that possible?
I mean, probably. I don't think I would recommend it, but probably it's possible.
So if you had a PSA that you'd like to tell everybody about IT work or computers or being an otaku weeb, as you
A
said,
public service announcement on
what would you have to say?
that's a tough one, probably just I feel like anybody could do this job, but I know that's not true because a lot of people don't look at it as something they can do. I feel like the public service announcement is, don't be afraid to try new stuff on your device, dig into it, find out what it does, try out the features. Don't be afraid to use your device.
I'm laughing
Right.
because when I was trying to search somebody's name to look through my messages, and you're like, you idiot, if you just swipe down and type in their name, it'll come up. And I was like, what? And now
But no.
whenever I see someone struggling to do that, I'm like, you idiot.
You
Just swipe
idiot.
down.
But the reason for this PSA is, I think if a lot of people were more willing to actually use their devices, they wouldn't need my help. I think a lot of the issue is they're too afraid to do stuff on their computer or their phone, thinking they're going to mess it up, when they could really learn, most of the knowledge I have just from using their device on a daily basis if they just did it.
Yeah, that's
the-
funny
but
because
the-
there's a lot of fear with
But
that.
the problem is, if people did that, then you would be out of a job. Then
I would to an extent. I mean, there are going to be things that they can't figure out. You know, we do have some clients that it is those little things, right? They don't know. But then we also have a lot of clients that are like, I'm what you'd call a power user in general. Like I use my device, I know what the settings are, but I cannot figure out this one thing, or I don't know how to do this to get where I want to, to accomplish this thing. So I don't know. I don't think it would put me out of a job, but I do think it would. I think it would help a lot of people. That's the goal, right? You just want to be
no,
able to use their device.
no.
And not,
The goal
you're
is
like
not
the goal is to make money. Is that
right.
what you're saying?
Exactly. So everybody, listen. This is the real PSA. Stop
Oh,
using your
no.
devices. We're gonna link Danny's contact information on the Instagram.
Call him. to
Call him
fix
if you have a
everything.
problem.
Or night.
Yes, day
No,
or night.
no.
And he will be ready. to
And if he doesn't
assist
help you, call him any unspeakable name in Japanese that you can think of.
Exactly.
Unspeakable name
Exactly.
in Japanese.
Exactly. Call Danny for all your tech problems.
Otaku
Oh,
no
man.
longer bothers him, so you need to come up with a worse one.
Come up with something
Exactly.
worse. Otaku was normal to me. Even weeb does not make me cringe. It doesn't matter.
That is funny. Well, hey, we got to wrap it up because we got our next victim in the pipeline.
Man, how many you guys got going today?
Dude, Aaron's like a slave driver.
Is this number 4? Is this the
Yep.
4th one?
I don't even know, dude. I've been sitting here for 12 hours.
12 hours. I got off my shift at work and I didn't even have time to leave the warehouse.
No,
I'm
I was
still
at
there
work.
in
I was
the
still
break
coming up
room.
with questions. I was at work walking around like Skyping people, being like, okay, Aaron.
I'm doing it right now.
Exactly. No, it's been crazy. We have a lot of people to get to as quickly as possible because we got some other stuff to do.
I love how
But
we're rushing these things too.
no, we're not rushing it. It's just that,
Okay, bye, Danny.
yeah,
See ya.
yeah. Get out. No,
out.
no.
I said get out.
No. Here's
Good day to you, sir.
no,
Good
but
day.
the cool thing about this is that we didn't cover everything. There's still a lot more to talk about, and so we get to have you back.
That's pretty much all there is to Danny. So yeah.
No.
You know you'll never get me back on here. As much fun as we had, I'm just never gonna be able to get me on. It took you a year. How long have you been doing these? You
How
asked
many
me like at the
caffeine injections
beginning.
Did you have to take to have enough? energy
We'll
to-
provide an incentive for you to come back.
No, it actually was quite a bit of fun. I would enjoy doing this again.
Okay.
Anime.
All right, we'll do it. We'll do another episode with you. It can be any topic, anime or whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll do it good, and it'll be fun too. So, but,
You have to edit
talk
this
about
next part. But Wilcox, there's not much to talk about. No, but
Rex Daniel doesn't care about your life.
yeah. All right, I'm about to stop the recording.